So let's come back together for a whole class discussion. Looking at your pre-lab questions, your post-lab questions. Let's discuss those and make sure that you got the point of the lab. Feel free to tweak your answers or ask any questions as we're going through. Post-lab question number 1. What general statement about living things could you make from this experiment? Volunteer, raise your hand and tell me what you have. Knowing it's okay if you're wrong, you're just sharing what you have and we can tweak our answers. Start us off, please, Lucy.
I said all living things produce CO2.
Anybody say it a little differently that we can enhance that or maybe use different words? Yep, Eva.
I said living things release CO2 in the air.
All right, good. Anybody word it differently? Yeah.
By breathing.
Yeah. So I'm just going to say breathing. Anybody say anything else for number 1? What general statement about living things could you make after doing this experiment? Good. Okay, that's awesome. Tweak your answers if you need to. That's what you should have. Why was that control tube necessary? Why did we have that control tube? Look at what you wrote down. Tell me what you have. Keaton?
See if the experiment works.
That's it. I'm going to say to make sure experiment worked. Anybody have anything different? Yep.
To see if the other ones change color.
To compare, to use as a comparison. I like that. Nice. Next page. So again, sorry that I didn't give you any room. So if you're on the computer, you can give yourself some spaces, or on your Chromebook, you can give yourself some spaces. Otherwise, we're going to squeeze it in there. Number 3, how is the reliability of results, the confidence in our results, achieved when doing this experiment in class? Answer that question first. How would we increase our confidence in our results or reliability in our results in this class? In this experiment. Maverick, what do you think?
If we had even more, like if we did even more experiments.
You got it. So doing the experiment more, I'm going to write down. How many times did we do the experiment? That was a tough question because we did it weird this year. That's a pretty easy question in previous years because each group does all 7, right? And then we can multiply it by the number of groups. So it's okay if you have a range here in this one. Tiffany, how did you answer that one?
I said we tested 2 or 3 each content in every class. It just kind of depended on how many people. But
Okay, I'm going to say tested many groups.
yeah.
Just to be broad. Or I could say we actually did 7 to 16 of each experiment. So I can be a little more specific. I think the one that we did the least was maybe the dry yeast or something like that. All right, was this enough to have reliable results? Austin, what would you say to that last question?
Where is it?
It's the last question in
Okay.
number 3.
I just said yes, because we did many tests that it can make it more reliable. If you only did 1 or 2, it would be that reliable.
Good.
A lot.
So certainly better than doing 1 or 2, okay? Could you have said no here and explained yourself differently? What do you think? Nod your heads yes or no. Did anyone answer no? Would that be okay as long as you explained yourself? Sure, that would be fine. Did anybody say no? Okay. You may have said no, it would be certainly better if we did it hundreds of times to find out what actually happened, but we actually could learn a lot from the 16 trials that we did, okay? So great, I'm glad you guys saw that. What was the independent variable in this experiment? Emma, what did you put for 4?
The item in the test tube.
Yes, so the items, and I'm gonna put them in parentheses, right? What were they? Addie, what were the items that we put on top of the foam?
Dead or alive bugs, wet yeast or dry yeast, and wet seed or dry seed.
Bugs, yeast, seeds, and you can put, you know, wet and dry if you'd like. But the items, bugs, yeast, seeds, on top of the foam. I mean, and if you said in the test tube, that's fine. So remember that the independent variable is what we change. What we changed from one experimental group to another. Last question. What was the dependent variable? Ella?
The color of the phenol red.
Yes, the phenol red color change. Remember, the phenol red is the indicator. Now, did anybody put anything else for the dependent variable? Did you word it differently? Sometimes students say the amount of carbon dioxide produced, which actually wasn't what we were measuring. I mean, that's why the phenol red changed color, but it's not like we had a sensor that told us exactly how much carbon dioxide was there, okay? So we just have to say what we measured, because the dependent variable is what we measured. So specifically, we measured the color change in the phenol red with our eyeballs, right? Very unscientific. If we wanted to be more scientific, we might get some sort of, you know, dissolved carbon dioxide sensor so that we could see how much was in there. But this is, you know, an introductory high school biology lab. All right, great. So that is it for your lab. Your lab should be completely filled in. That is, you should have all of your making observation pre-lab questions filled in. If you have any missing or you were absent the day that we went through that, the PowerPoint is still up on Google Classroom. So that will assist you in answering 90% of those questions. The rest you have to do a little bit of logical thinking. You should have your entire chart on the back filled in, all 4 columns. There should be no blank boxes, okay? If there are blank boxes, you need to explain, okay? So if you only explained your reasoning why you think you would have color change, you need to also explain your reasoning why you didn't think that there would be color change. It can be short, if you'd like, and you need to know what happened in this lab because there will be questions on that in our first quiz. Our first quiz, date yet to be determined. I will certainly give you time to study for that, probably next week. We'll see how long it takes to go through the rest of the lessons because it's going to be on the characteristics of life, this lab, and the scientific method, okay? So I introduced some of the concepts in scientific method to you, and we're gonna reinforce those, right? We're missing a lot of them, right? You guys are probably like, what about that controlled variable? Or what about other things, other experiments? And we're gonna practice using those independent and dependent variables and some other activities to make sure you have those down, okay? Before I quiz you on it, all right? So keep that in your folder or keep it in your Google biology file, your Google Drive biology file to study. And I'll let you know when you can pull that out again. All right, now we're gonna go to Michigan Virtual. Open up to Michigan Virtual and you can go through the living characteristics tabs that are open there. Just kind of looking at our agenda for the rest of the day. So, Michigan Virtual, Unit 1 Introduction, and then you want to do the lesson 1.3 Characteristics of All Life. I'm going to bring that up and show you guys what that looks like. Because again, there's a navigation bar on the far left-hand side that has lots of bullets. Don't skip over that and go to the next lesson. Biology, I'm going to try and look like a student. All right, and remember we're doing it from our content stream, not our assignment stream. I have no idea what that assignment stream is for. Maybe I'll try and get rid of it, but we go through content, okay? Maybe I'll ask and figure out why we even have that. I don't even know. Okay, so you'll notice now in Unit 1, whoops. Do you guys see this? I didn't want to do Unit 2. Can you see that? Okay, good. I don't know why it's showing up for me. Okay, good. So the ones that are open for you are what we are doing. We are not doing 1-1 and 1-2. I'm skipping over those, and but you can't see them anyway, which is great. So we're going directly to Lesson 1.3, Worksheet 1.3, and Observing the Characteristics of Life, okay? So I already asked you in the beginning of the hour to read through this. It's just a one-pager. It's pretty easy. Okay, and then the next thing that you're going to go through is the 1.3 characteristics of all living things. Notice there are videos to watch, so earbuds are required, or headphones, right? I don't want you listening to this out loud, and it's so much better to learn if you can hear. Here's why I would like you to listen to these videos instead of just reading them. You learn by reading in book readings and excerpts that I post, right? And that goes to a certain place in your brain when you learn by reading. It actually goes to a different place in your brain when you hear the content that we're learning. It goes to an auditory storage place in your brain. So listening to videos when you're learning, as well as reading about things, actually makes you more well-rounded and smarter, okay? So I know sometimes people don't want to put in earbuds and they want to just read the closed caption of a video. That could be like worst case scenario if you forget your earbuds. But please, I do want you to have those earbuds in as you go through these videos. Notice all of the tabs in the navigation bar, okay? Go through all of those, and before you go to your concept map. It is my goal to not overload you with work, okay? So if I have given you way more during the course of the day, and that will send you home with a bunch of homework, you need to let me know, okay? I'm okay with what we do in class just being what we do. You are my first biology class. So at the end of the hour, I want you to be like, hey, Mrs. Melanson, I didn't even get through all the tabs, or I didn't even get to make my concept map or bring that up. I want you kind of working on things in class with me so that I can help you if you're struggling, okay? I am feeling like I already gave you a little too much for today, okay? Since we have, not too much time left. At the end of the hour, please give me feedback on how far you got through, and this may bleed into Thursday's lesson as well, okay? Sound good, guys? All right, dive in.